Good morning, spacemen. Welcome back to Space Operations Delta. I'm Captain Collins, and we're back to X4. And today I want to talk about something that I had on my mind for quite some time. It is about stations. And I get this question a lot lately in the streams and also in videos as a comment. Some people of you are experiencing X4, or they are jumping into the game. They are building their first ships. They're going to get into trading. They're going to get some miners that are working for their starting empire. But you still feel like you're missing out on something, and especially on building stations. Today I will not talk about this big kind of stations, but I will talk about easy station builds that you can do at the start of your game that will be not only a foundation, for your other stations that are coming and that you can build on top of these, but also a first starting point to earn money off from producing wares instead of just trading wares or trading resources that you mined with other ships. We go through this process together really slow so that you can start building your stations, and then on top, after you start with the first steps, you earn some money with your stations. Then you can go and get step by step to these giant things which are self-sufficient, completely autonomous running wharves and shipyards that you can build on top of your starting stations. Before we do that, a very quick message from the sponsor of this video. I'm so glad I can do that. Infinite Galaxy. This video is sponsored by Infinite Galaxy. You are craving for a unique space game experience on mobile with base building and third-person space action? With a voice-acted campaign to follow? Infinite Galaxy has that and more. Join the fight against the Imperium today by using the link in the description below.
Infinite Galaxy. Play for free now.
So we're starting very easily, and this info is applicable for everyone. It doesn't matter which kind of DLCs you got installed or even which kind of mods you got installed. Every station should be doing the same, or should come the same way. Future Captain here, a little bit sunburned because I do that a day later. There is one thing that an absolute beginner for building station does need before doing anything else with stations, and that is you need to buy blueprints. And whatever blueprints you decide on buying later on, I will show you where to get them. And you can get these blueprints at stations like this, like the Argon Shipyard, where you have one of these persons with a crown on them. So every single faction should have one of these stations where there's a person with a crown. For example, here the Ministry of Finance does have one in Prophet Center Alpha, and Taladi are in the Animus Zura, and so on and so on. If you go there, I can teleport there. You can teleport with a reputation of plus 27. You can teleport to every station and every ship of that faction, just to let you know. And then once arrived at the station, you go to the representative's office, and at the representative's office you are now able to buy blueprints if you have the standing for them. You need to have, here with the Argon Federation, you need to have at least plus 10. This plus 10 will give you an intermediate module license. You just go there, you say, I would like to buy a blueprint, and then you can go and buy production modules, for example. Advanced composites, antimatter cells, whatever you decide on. This is something you need to do before building stations. And from there on, you pick a sector where you want to build. So that's the next step. You need to pick a sector where you want to start building. And for that, I pick Second Contact 7 because I already have a lot of stuff flying around there. And we'll start there. First thing you want to do is go into your Manage Plot sections. There in your Manage Plot sections, you can put in new plots. You will see, I guess, no plot in here. Your plots will be just nothing. You'll only see a new plot thing. You click on this new plot thing, and the standard size is 4 by 4 by 4 kilometers. That's fine for the start. You click on create plot, and then you get this box, and you can place your plot wherever you want to in this system. Please note that you need to buy a license, and the license price, which you see attached to the plot that we're moving around, changes when you are going closer to some gates. There you see the price goes up because you're closer to a gate and this is more valuable. Or when you go closer to valuable stations like that, you see how the price goes up and it goes down when you're further away from a station. It is something to consider at the start. Later on, you don't think that much about it. You just put it somewhere. When you picked your plot and you just click wherever you want it to, boom, there it is. You got your factory. You buy the license for the price that I just showed you. Otherwise, you will get in trouble with police. So you can avoid that in a few different ways. Either you can build station plots in systems that are unclaimed, like you have some unclaimed sectors at the start, like for example Nobilious Fortune. There you don't need to buy these plot because there's nobody to pay, you know. And if you own the sector, but I guess at this kind of size, you need to build a station first to own a sector, but we'll come to that maybe later. Then you click on continue and you are in your station build menu. And from here on, there are a few station builds that are more easily than others to be built. These are the stations where this chemical glass is there. So there you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stations. These are the absolute minimal amount of effort stations that you can build. But hear me out, it is not the minimum amount of profits you can make. Absolutely something to consider. I would advise you, if you build stations, to do it that way if you start. You can do it in another way later, but for a start, this is a very easy way to do it. You pick a docking module. Let's just take the cheapest one and you just place it somewhere in the middle, so you have a starting point. From here on, I place one of these crosses because they can connect into every direction. I don't need to think about it too much. What you need absolutely at the start and for every single station, if it's not just a station to just store some stuff, okay? You need container storage. You pick some container storage and attach that to the station. The amount of container storage should be, I would say, at the start as high as you can. You need to have a little bit of a look to your cost there. But I would go as high as you can. At least have 1L container storage. That will give you enough room for your end products. Because, you know, you will need to store them. You can't just sell off everything on time. So you have to store something. Then you also have to store intermediates. And then from here on, it depends on what you want to build. From here on, I go and I take the first production module that I always take in every single sector outside of Sol system. I'm not talking about Terran economy here, because the reason for that is if you're building in the Terran systems, in Sol system, you get a very low yield of, well, sunlight in these sectors. Every other sector, the old sectors, Argon Prime, 18 billion, up to the split sectors, all of them give you at least 100% of energy, of sunlight energy. You simply put an energy cell production on every single station you can get. There you go. We have some problems here. We can't fit that. What can you do if it doesn't fit and you want to move things around? You want to move all of these things around? Just pick the first module that you've built and that every other module is being highlighted. And then you click and drag it onto the site. There you go. The other module is gone. By the way, right click and you can look around. Then you place the energy cell production. It is green and I can attach it. Perfect. We got it attached. Future Captain interlude again. You don't need to connect all the modules with each other. I know you want to build stations that are connected and everything, but just let me tell you, a station that does not have every single module connected with each other also works. You need to know that for later, and it can make some things way easier if you, for example, place random defense modules just around your stations, which do not need to be connected to function. Keep that in mind. It's just an extra on top. So now this station is already capable of producing and selling energy cells. That is already the first part, but we're not done with that. This is too easy. This is way too easy. We're going to advance that a little bit. And we're advancing it with other production modules. These things here, these 6 stations are using 5 different resources. Simple resources that you can mine in a sector, and you don't need to do anything else with them. You just put them into one of these production modules and they are being processed. Like, for example, the silicon wafer production only needs energy cells and silicon. Silicon you can mine. Energy cells are simply passively produced on this station because the sun is shining and you're simply producing the energy cells. You don't need anything else. It's not like in the older X games. Then you have refined metal and tellurium. These two are using the same resource. They're using ore. Tellurium is something that you need in Telladi systems and for Telladi stuff. I'm not talking too much about that right now. You will see that later on. Refined metal is also one of these core things that you want to build early on in order to build other stuff. We're going with silicon wafer because silicon wafer is, at the moment, I showed you the wharf at the start, but silicon wafer is my most profitable station of all. I have a silicon wafer production in Second Contact 2. This is not far away from Argon Prime. And this station does around, these are high numbers, 10 million credits per hour, per non-CETA hour. So not even accelerated, and they do around 10 million. There are a lot of miners. It's not a single silicon wafer. There are multiple silicon wafers, so you can have multiple station production modules on your station, and they of course work then faster. And the only thing you need to do with these easy builds is just put more miners to work. And for a silicon wafer production, we need to mine silicon. Silicon is a product that is or a resource that is solid. So you can read all of that in Encyclopedia. I will show you that later after we build the station. I know this is a solid part. Oh, I need to move that again a little bit. This is a solid part, and therefore I built a solid storage. As that solid storage, I simply attach a silicon wafer production. I'll show you how that works in a second. The silicon wafer production is already attached, and this is your first station that is producing wares that other factions really need. Silicon wafers, refined metal, graphene, superfluid coolant, antimatter, everything of that is necessary in every single, not in the Terran sectors, but in every other single economy. You need these parts to produce other stuff out of it. Next thing, if you have attached everything, you have a look and everything looks nice, you can simply confirm these module changes. You have to do that, otherwise it will not be saved. And when you save that, you can go in here. You have these pens there. These pens show you at the top right corner that you can customize some of your modules, customizing with turrets and shields. So even a production module do have M-class turrets on them and can defend themselves. You don't need to have defense modules. to defend these stations. If you're done, you confirm your loadout changes here, lower right corner, confirm them, and you're good. If you unfold here the resources needed and the buy offers for needed resources, you see everything that you need. You need Claytronics, energy cells, and hull parts to produce that, fine. And how much money you need, that's very important. You simply click on accept estimate, or if you want to start building the station and you do not have all the money, you can at least attach a little bit of money to that already so it starts to build. You can then assign or hire a builder. That is absolutely necessary, otherwise it will not start building. You can have done everything in here, but it still says here in a red color, assign a builder to start construction. Assign them, you go to the map, get to see the map around here, and then you just simply look out for these ships. This is a construction vessel. You can either right click them and select them, or you can search them in the list at the left. If you've done that, that construction vessel is already ordering everything that you need. You usually don't need to do anything else if that is in a sector that is frequented with traders and stuff. That builder will make sure that you will get all the stuff there. You see the rare reservations already. That builder makes sure that you will get everything. That's it. There's nothing else you need to do. There's no okay or nothing. You simply close that menu. Close that menu and the station is being built. Now you can go into your property owned, and there should be this here, the second contact factory, and there you can also see the modules that are being built and so on. If you want to change something, right click it and go into plan build, and then you can adjust your build and put some more stuff into there. So what did I do with the silicon wafer? I changed the orientation of that silicon wafer, right? Let me just show you with another container storage what I just did. So there are a few things. It can be complicated at the start, I know. Modules are now in every single dimension, every single rotation, rotatable. Short interlude, future captain again here. I promise this is the last time, but I want to make this video as good as it can be, and so I want to have every beginner at the same starting point. I will now talk about the camera movement, and for the camera movement, how I use it, you need to change something in a config file. I got that config file right here, and you can find this if you go into your PC in Documents, Egosoft, X4, random number, whatever this number is for you, and then you find a file, an XML document, which says config. And in here, there is a station editor FreeCam. This is usually in, there's the value false, and you change this in true. And then you can use exactly how I use the camera right now. And believe me, it's much easier. Change that and you will have a lot easier time. Just a small interlude. And now back to the video. Looking around is right click and then you can look around. Okay. Mouse wheel is going closer and going away. WASD will move the camera up and down, left and right. And with that, you can move left here, change the view, go right here, change the view, go right there, change the view, and so on. Go up, go closer, and so on. Now, how do you change the rotation of one of these modules? If you left click, drag and drop, you will simply move this thing around. Even the moving around is already a little bit different. So you always change in a two-dimensional space. If you're looking at something, you have to think that you only have up and down, left and right. And if you want to change that, you need to take a different looking angle to change it differently. So if I'm taking a look at the container storage right now, I drag and drop it. I can go left and right, up and down. I cannot go backwards and forward. But what if I want to go backwards right here? Well, I do have to change my viewing angle. I have to change it into this view. And now, again, I can go left and right, up and down. But this time from the other angle, if you remembered. this movement here is backwards and forwards. So that's how you do it. And the next thing, the next big thing is rotating this stuff. So you're completely free to rotate it. Rotating is kind of the same, where you need your looking angle first and then you're rotating. Rotating is clicking on your module, right click it, and then you're moving around. Here you're moving the rotation angle that you see in front of you. So again, you can only move left, right, up, down, and the only way you can rotate is like this, like my hand is rotating. And if you want to change that, you have to take a different look at the piece you want to rotate. So now if I go back in here, again, I can only rotate like that. But remember what we just saw before from the other perspective. This is now rotating like this. I know it sounds complicated, but once you get the grip of it, it's very easy. And if you want to snap the rotation, while you rotate, you can hold down Shift, and now you see that it snaps. You can change these snapping settings here if you go in the cogwheel, and it says 15 degrees for me right now. If you do that for the first time, it should say 45 degrees. It should be snapping like this, right? So you can change it right here, and I would advise you to change it to 15 degrees because that will give you the most freedom, even if you're using split modules, because split modules do have a weird angle. They do not have like 90-degree connections. They have more like 120-degree connections. To get good with both of them, you need 15 degrees. This is like best practice if you want so. If I mess that up, if I did something really weird and I don't know how to get back, then right click, reset rotation, it's back. So much for that simple station. And if you run into problems because you have too much stuff that you want to fill into that small plot that you choose at the start, no problem, you can still adjust that plot afterwards. You go in here, what is that thing called? Second contact 7 factory, it's that plot. You can simply drag and drop these plot sizes. You will see the change on your screen, and then you buy license and the plot size just changed. If you go in here, now you see the same stations, it's still there, but the plot size changed, and now the storage module that we couldn't connect before now fits in here. Perfect. Congratulations, you have built your first station, which should provide you not only with your first profits, but should also provide you with informations how to build bigger stations. And from here on, if you want more information or what to build, you can go into the encyclopedia and take a look at the wares you want to produce. Like, for example, let's say you want to produce quantum tubes, and it tells you what you need: Claytronics, advanced electronics, turret components, shield components, and field coils. Let's say you want to go down then, and this is too much, I want to go and build Claytronics first. Go into Claytronics, and here you see what you need for Claytronics. Claytronics is one step down of this production chain, and you see antimatter cells, energy cells, microchips, and quantum tubes. From here on, you can take one of the simple stations that I was talking about, antimatter cells, because antimatter cells is one of these modules that I was talking about, which only needs energy cells and one single resource, in this case, hydrogen. So it produces antimatter cells out of energy cells and hydrogen, and this would be a starting point to build, for example, where are they? Claytronics. Energy cells for Claytronics, you already got them on your station, you're already producing antimatter cells, and now you're going adding the stuff that you need. For this example, microchips. Microchips would be here. Microchips need, there we go, silicon wafers. So microchips would be something that you can put on top of the silicon wafer station. How do you do that? Well, you simply go into the build menu again, you add a microchip production onto your silicon wafer production, and your station has got a higher value product now, which you don't need for profits. Let me tell you that. You don't need that for raw profits. But this is something that you need later, for example, for building your own ships, for building other materials that you need, and maybe providing a special item that the economy of a faction that you're supporting needs. Here you got all the information, and I got one special gift for you because we have something very nice to add, and I will link that in the description down below. There it is, Station Calculator. This is a website. This is a very nice website where you can select the thing that you want to build. When you select it, like let's say, for example, type in Claytronics, Claytronic Production, and you want to build one Claytronic production, then just click autofill modules or autofill modules, and it will tell you exactly what you need and how much you need to be able to support one Claytronic production. Let's say we try that again. We go into Claytronic productions, but this time I want to build, let's say 5. I autofill, and you see the values here. We still have one anti-matter cell production, very strong, and you get the values. So the link for that is in the description down below, and that is basically everything you need to build your first easy stations. That was a long video, I know, but it is especially helpful for everyone that builds stations for the first time, and I hope that helps you a lot, and I hope that it was slow enough so you could try and build it next to this video. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Captain Collins. I'm out. Have a good time.